Alright, so in this video is going to be a simple haircut in many people's minds, right? It's an all even. We're going to taper out the back, but I'm gonna attempt to teach you guys some tips and tricks throughout this haircut, because even though it's all even, you can still mess this haircut up. And there's things you can do with all evens depending on, textures of hair, depending on the way people's hair grows, and nobody's head is perfect, so you can cut this haircut in a way that another barber might not do it. So let's start off with going against the grain everywhere, right around the head, and we're using a number 3 guard. And above the ear, notice that the hair grows to the left as opposed to growing straight down like everywhere else. You got to make sure you go against the grain. Around this cowlick area, around the crown area, everyone has a cowlick. It's nothing new. It's funny how clients will always sit in my chair and say something like, "Oh man, I have a cowlick here. I think I have a cowlick here on the top. Can you watch out for that?" And say, "Dude, everybody has a cowlick there. Everyone. Some people have 2, 3. I've seen some crazy stuff." As you can see, we're going against the grain and we're brushing the direction of the hair growth pattern. You want to make sure it's laying in its natural state. And then you're going to go against the grain. What I mean by against the grain is if it's growing to the left, you're cutting to the right. If it's growing upwards, you're cutting downwards. The opposite of whatever direction the hair grows. And I like to do, small passes of the clipper, not necessarily long, just because it's more precise that way. If you have detachable clippers, those are always great for all evens. Now here we're gonna start our first line demarcation. We're gonna taper out the back, and you notice that I cut above a cowlick. It's hard to blend a cowlick because it grows in so many different directions. So I made this initial guideline above that. So we're gonna open up the Andes Masters and create our next guideline. As you can see here, I'm closing it. I showed you guys, where the lever is in order to have a closed Andes Masters. And we're gonna start to erase that line. And although it creates another line, you're just pretty much blending it into the next that guideline. So we're going up about 1/4 of an inch every time we open that lever a little bit, until there's a nice gradual blend and there's no lines. And you can see I'll pull the scalp to kind of make it more comfortable for me to get into certain areas. There's different names for all evens, Caesars, or barbers like to name everything. So now we're gonna go to, since this is a 3 all even, we're gonna do the 1 open, create our next guideline. And what you naturally want to do is blend from your first guideline all the way up to the occipital bone. And once you get to the occipital bone, there should be a nice blend into the bulk of the hair. So if it's a number 3 on top, it should be a nice gradual blend to the number 3 on top. And even if they don't want it to be tapered down the back, if somebody has a number 2 all the way around, number 3 all the way around, still taper it a little bit in the back, because in the back, that's where it wants to curl up the most and it wants to hang over the hairline and stuff. So if you do like a number 3 and then cut down, taper the back, with like a number 2, it's still gonna look even. It's still gonna look dark all the way around, but you're gonna give the life of that person's haircut, some more time. Right here we have the number 0 guard, and we're just finishing that blend from the Andes open to the number 1 open. This is like the guard that's in between. It's equivalent to a 1/16 for the wall half guard. couldn't get with the number 0, I'll come back with the Andes open and try to clean it up some. And you can see I'm turning the chair just slightly because, you know, different angles, you know, when you turn their head and that you look at it from different angles, it might look different, especially with tapers. Right here I went back to number 1 and clean things up. So the Andes open. At this point, you see I got 2 guards in my hands because I don't want to keep turning back or anything. So I got 2 guards in my hands and just flip-flopping, trial and error method, right? And the brush that I'm using is perfect for blending. It's a very soft bristle brush. It's white, so you can you know when it's clean, because the black hairs on white bristles, you're gonna see them. So you know when the brush is clean, and you can keep brushing the same place without irritating somebody's skin or scalp, because it's such a soft brush. That's number 2. Open, I believe. Yeah, open. Clear out some bolt connected to the 3, and then we're gonna close it. And the finishing touch should be the 1 open underneath that to really bring it all together. You can see this is the 1 open, we're bringing it all together. Like I said, you can close the 1 open if you need to, close it as needed. This is a 20 minute or less haircut right here. Now, understand 20 minutes or less, but I'm not telling you to rush through the cut and get it done in 10 minutes. It's not what, I mean, people notice that it'll feel rushed out the chair. Right here I'm using the number 0 guard open, and I'm just slightly tapering the sideburn area. I want this area, you know, the temple and the nape area, that's where the hair, like, as it's growing, even if it's all even, it's going to tend to look longer, shaggier in those areas. It's going to start to curl up a little bit. So I like to lower that a little bit. I still want it to look dark, but I lowered it a little bit to give the haircut a little bit more, you know, so that it'll last a little longer. A lot of time clients don't notice these things. They don't notice that you're doing this for them. They'll just notice that, hey, my haircut with this guy lasts a little bit longer, and it looks a little bit, you know, lays down a little bit neater. Or if you want to sell yourself, just tell them, you know, I'm gonna do this for you, and you know, this is gonna let the life of your haircut last a little bit longer, and they'll appreciate that. Lock in clients that way. So we're gonna start lining it up, and another reason too is when you're lining it up and you know, you lower it down a little bit, just a little bit, it'll hold a nicer lineup. And I use my index fingers, you know, to brace myself and to lower his ear a little bit as I'm edging around his ear, cleaning it up. I'm using the Andes Slimline LIs here. The blade on my Pros broke again. Andes, come on. For no reason. Didn't drop them or nothing. I just look at them and there's a chipped tooth. So I'm rocking with my LIs. I did the same thing on the other side. I tapered it a little bit, but I kept it dark. Alright, now this guy's hairline is crazy. Like, one side is a lot lower than the other. So what I'm attempting to do is make it as leveled as possible, his hairline, without pushing, one corner higher than the other. And here I'm using my number 2 guard, and I'm tapering the front edge a little bit just so it'll hold a crisper line. But as you can see, the right side is a lot lower than the left side. We're starting from the middle here, and we're gonna line up. We're gonna start from the middle and then gradually try to get everything together without it looking. You can see already it's looks a little bit better, but that left side is a lot higher than the right side, naturally. So we got to get a little bit cosmetic here. For the sake of not pushing him back, it's not going to be perfectly leveled, but it's going to be a lot better than it looks naturally. At the end of the day, we don't want to push one side up, an inch high, and people ain't going to like that either. So since we know the left side is a lot higher naturally than the right side, we want to keep the left side as natural as possible. Because if you push that up, just even a little bit, slightly, then it's going to look a lot higher than the right side. You're going to have to go right back to the drawing board and start lining him up. And you're going to continue to keep doing that. Before you know it, you push them back an inch later, an inch back, and you're not going to notice it until the next time he sits in your chair. You're going to be like, yo, who cut your hair last? He's going to have to break it to you. You did. But you didn't notice that you were pushing them back the whole time because it was little by little that it was happening. And you can see that I'll pull the scalp to raise the hairline above the ear so I can get to it a little bit easier. Now start from the bottom of the sideburn, then the corner of the C-cup, top of the C-cup, and now we'll bring it all together. I don't usually line up like this, but I did so you guys can see what's going on. Guys, believe it or not, the power went out in the shop. But the show must go on. Power cut back on. The power cut back on. I'm going right back to work. But what I was doing in that scene was I was, applying shave gel. A clear shave gel will work. As you can see, I'm pulling the scalp again to lift that hairline and get behind the ear. I like to use short detail strokes. Helps not irritate the skin. You can see the blend. Once you put that razor on it, it really, for some reason that blade makes that blend look even nicer. But yeah, man, the razor's a must. You gotta do the razor. And you want to make sure you're going against the grain to get a nice tight line. Pay attention to, you know, the growth pattern, like I always say. Pull the skin when you're sliding that blade, and make sure it's a comfortable shave. Put some shave gel on there. And even here, you want to make sure you're going against the grain, even on the arch, the C cup. And I do the eyebrows per request. You know, if people ask for the eyebrows, I try to keep it as natural as possible. And that's it, guys. Hope you liked the video. Definitely, like I always ask you guys to do, smash that like button, subscribe, share the videos if this helps you in any way, shape, or form. I appreciate you guys like always. Thank you guys for all the love and support, and I'll see you on the next video.